The Social Security Administration will pay over $1 trillion in benefits to more than 65 million Americans in 2022. Now, most recipients are over the age of 65, and more than half are women. Good evening and welcome to Rural America Live with AARP. I'm Christina Loren. We also welcome our listeners tonight joining us on Rural Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 147. Big changes are happening to Social Security in 2022. Beneficiaries will see a 5.9% cost of living adjustment to monthly retirement checks and to supplemental security income checks. The COLA will boost the average retirement check by $92 a month, climbing to a total of $1,657. Now, this is the largest COLA increase since 1982, so it is big news. Social Security can be a key component of our retirement plan, but many of us don't completely understand how to make the most of it, and failure to understand our options can be costly. Tonight, a Social Security expert will answer your questions live on the air, and our friends from AARP will share resources to help you navigate the road to financial security. You are a big part of our show tonight. We want to hear from you. Our question of the month is, how does Social Security help you and your family? And we are giving away a hard side cooler to 5 lucky on-air callers tonight, and we want to hear from you. Give us a call at 877-283-7570 and join our conversation. As a friendly reminder, you don't need to be a member of AARP or over the age of 50 to win, but you can only win one time each calendar year. And you will get your cooler, but please be patient. The pandemic has slowed shipping. Now, if you are a winner, AARP will call you back in the next few days to confirm your mailing address, so make sure to take their call or return their call if they leave you a message. Now, we welcome tonight's guests, and we get to welcome a new member of the AARP team to the show. Brad Anderson joins us from Des Moines, Iowa. Welcome, Brad. And Social Security expert Rob Clark is back with us to answer your questions. It's great to have you both with us tonight. Tonight's show is chock full of useful information, but Brad, let's start by getting to know you a little bit better. Tell us about your background.
Well, thank you so much, Christina. I'm excited to be a part of the show. As you mentioned, I'm here in the great state of Iowa, where we have lots of Rfd-Tv viewers, which makes sense because 35% of our state is rural. So shout out to all the Iowans watching tonight. As for me personally, I've been the AARP Iowa State Director for around 3 years now. I've got a wife and 2 teenagers, which means I'm also a part-time chauffeur. So when I'm not fighting for the 50 plus or driving around teenagers, you'll probably find me fishing at one of our great state parks, or sometimes I like to make it up to Northeast Iowa and do a little fly fishing in the Driftless region, which is a spectacular part of the state and probably one of the best fly fishing spots in the Midwest. So again, I'm excited to be a part of the show, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation we're about to embark on tonight regarding Social Security.
You paint yourself as the most interesting man in the world, so we look forward to adding your expertise to our conversation tonight. Really excited to have you join us here. We want to talk about Social Security, and this conversation is always filled with questions that range from when should I take it to am I eligible for survivor benefits? But there are also many misconceptions out there. Talk about that.
There are misconceptions, but what I'd like to do is start with some good news. So Social Security is now 86 years old, and it has never missed a payment, which is great news. Now, from its inception, Social Security was never intended to be the sole source of income. It was always meant to be more of a safety net and keep people out of poverty. In fact, here in Iowa, we have kept 160,000 Iowans out of poverty through Social Security. So it's had a tremendous impact on older Iowans. However, Americans across the country do have misconceptions about what Social Security can provide them as they age. So tonight we'll share lots of information and answer questions that we have, and I know we can all use a little extra Social Security education, including myself. So we're hoping to do that tonight.
Yeah, in a language that we can understand, right? Which is why we brought Rob back. Rob, you are the guy for the job tonight, answering our viewer questions. You worked at the Social Security Administration for nearly 40 years. Let's go back to the COLA increase for a moment. 5.9%, the largest increase since 1982. What's the driving factor there?
Well, Christina, the driving factor behind that increase was inflation. Social Security cost of living adjustments are based on changes in what they call the CPIW. That's the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, but we'll call it the CPI. They compare the average index for the third quarter of the year, which is July, August, and September, to the average for the quarter that was last used for the last cost of living adjustment. And if the current average is higher, well, the percentage that the CPI went up is the percentage that they used to increase Social Security benefits. So the CPI for the third quarter of 2021 was 5.9% higher. So Social Security benefits were increased 5.9%, starting with the checks that the payments people are receiving this month in January 2022. Now, as everyone on Medicare knows, the Medicare Part B premium also went up. So Medicare beneficiaries are paying more out of their Social Security check each month for their Medicare. The Part B premium increased $21.60 per month in 2022, and that's the largest dollar increase in the history of the Medicare program. Now, there have been some changes since Medicare set that premium amount, and the Secretary of Health and Human Services has ordered Medicare to take another look at that Medicare premium to see if maybe they can lower it back down a little bit.
Okay, so that's not set in stone. When it comes to Social Security and even Medicare, nothing ever really is. It's constantly changing. People need more money right now just to cover their utility bills, their grocery bills, and thinking about inflation in the future as well. But let's step back just for a moment for some context. Can you lay out how Social Security payments actually work, Rob?
Sure. Let me start by talking about regular Social Security retirement benefits. Social Security also pays disability and survivor benefits, and we can talk about those later in the program if people have questions. But for retirement benefits, if you work and pay into Social Security, you become insured for a retirement benefit once you earn 40 Social Security credits, which are also called quarters of coverage. In 2022, you get 1 credit for every $1,510 you earn, and you can earn up to 4 credits each year. So, for example, this year, if you earn $6,040 or more, you earn 4 credits for 2022. So, to get a retirement benefit, you have to work in a job where you pay into Social Security and earn those credits, and you have to earn 40 credits for a retirement benefit. So you have to pay into Social Security for at least 10 years, 4 credits a year for 10 years, and you have to be at least 62 years old to start collecting the Social Security benefit. So those are the 3 things that have to happen before you can become eligible for your own Social Security retirement benefit. Now, Social Security also pays benefits to qualifying spouses and to children of workers who paid into Social Security. So, for example, if you didn't work long enough to earn your own retirement benefit, you might still be able to qualify for a Social Security benefit on your spouse's record.
You know what I love? You didn't even check any notes. That was all right off the top of your head, which just goes to show the breadth of your knowledge, which is why we're so excited to get to ask you our Social Security questions tonight, Rob. Brad, let's bring you back into the conversation because AARP has really had their finger on the pulse when it comes to Social Security benefits and answering the many questions that people have, of all ages for that matter. Talk about the resources that are available.
Well, Christina, is there a better resource than Rob? First of all, my answer to that is no. But that being said, of course, AARP has done a terrific job creating online resources for older Americans. And whether that's to help older Americans avoid scams, which I know we've talked a lot about on this show, or how to navigate Social Security. And so we've created at AARP a one-stop shop called the AARP Social Security Resource Center. And it's designed to help you determine the benefits you're eligible for, when you can get them, and how much you and your family can expect to receive. And so to get to the Social Security Resource Center, simply go to aarp.org/social security, and you'll find lots of information. And of course, if you didn't grab that pencil to write all this stuff down, we'll have links to all this information at aarp.org/AARP live. Now, what I'd really like to draw folks' attention to is we researched what are the 25 most asked questions about Social Security, and then we created short videos specific to those 25 most asked questions. And the number one question that we get asked is, how do I apply for Social Security benefits? So let's take a look.
How do I apply for Social Security benefits?
For retirement and spousal benefits, you can apply online once you've opened a My Social Security account at ssa.gov. You can also apply by phone or by visiting your local Social Security office.
What information or documents will I need when I apply?
You'll have to provide your date and place of birth, marital history, and your number of children. You'll also need to know start and stop dates for any jobs in the last 2 years and report income from any self-employment in the last 2 years. Have your most recent W-2 or self-employment tax return ready. If you're a veteran, you'll need your dates of service and may need your service papers. You might also need your Social Security card, birth certificate, and if you were born abroad, proof of legal status. Also be sure to have your bank account type and number and your bank's routing number. Social Security needs this information to set up direct deposit for your benefit payments.
What if I'm applying for survivor benefits?
If you're applying for survivor benefits, online is not an option. You can only file by phone or in person and should have the same documents I just mentioned. To learn more, go to aarp.org/social security.
A wealth of resources there for you. Okay, now it's your turn to ask your questions. 877-283-7570 is the number to call in with your Social Security questions, and you might be the winner of a cooler tonight. Stay with us. More Rural America Live with AARP right after this.
Can I collect both my deceased spouse's Social Security and my own at the same time?
No. If you are eligible to receive both retirement and survivor benefits, Social Security doesn't combine them. It will pay the higher of the two amounts.
So, if my late spouse's retirement benefit was higher than mine, I'll automatically get that?
Not necessarily. Survivor benefits are based on the amount of your late spouse's Social Security payment, but also on your own age and family situation. In most circumstances, you must be at or beyond your full retirement age to claim 100% of your deceased spouse's benefit.
What happens if I claim survivor benefits earlier?
They're reduced. The minimum age for most widows and widowers to get survivor benefits is 60. At that age, you can get 71.5% of your late spouse's benefit. The percentage increases for each month you delay until full retirement age. There is a different rule if you are caring for a child from the marriage who is under 16 or disabled. In that case, you get 75% of your late spouse's benefit, regardless of your own age.
But whatever the share, I'll only get it if it exceeds my own retirement benefit, right?
That's right.
What if I get married again? Does that make a difference?
It might. If you remarried before turning 60, you could lose eligibility for survivor benefits. To learn more, go to aarp.org/Social Security.
Welcome back to Rural America Live with AARP. After another tumultuous year, more and more Americans view Social Security as a critical lifeline. But how will it play into your retirement plan, and will it be enough? Tonight, we're unpacking the various components of the Social Security system and discussing the changes that are taking place in 2022. Our friends from AARP, they brought an expert along to answer your questions tonight. Rob Clark is with us, as well as Brad Anderson, AARP State Director for Iowa. And we are giving away coolers to 5 lucky on-air callers tonight, chosen at random. Anybody can win. 877-283-7570 is the number to call, and you could be a winner tonight. The phone lines are open now. We want to hear from you. And with that said, let's go straight to the phones. April of New York leads us off tonight. Thanks for joining us, April. Go right ahead.
Hi. My question is, my husband's going to be 70 this year, about 7 months from now, and he's been deferring his check. I am younger. I'm 66, almost 67, and so I have started collecting, and he's getting spousal benefit on me as I'm collecting. So he gets half of my check. His will be much larger than mine. So my question is, his health is not wonderful. We don't think he has a great life expectancy, according to the doctors. Would it be worth it for him not to wait to 70 and maybe start collecting his check now at 69 in a couple of months, or even possibly retroactive 6 months ago? And rather than waiting for that 70, even though that would be my survivor benefit when time comes. I do have a pension. He doesn't have any pension.
Yeah. You're asking the right questions, and I can't give you a definitive answer because it really is a personal decision. What you should do is sit down and take a look. How much would his benefit be if he waits until 70? How much would it be if he took it right now? And how much would it be if he took that 6 months of back benefit? And you're just going to have to compare those options and make the decision that you and your husband are most comfortable with. Now, as you noted, if he takes it before age 70, he's going to pick up some more money now, and in a sense, that puts him ahead of the game for some time. But it also means that if he does die first and his Social Security benefit is higher, that your survivor benefit would also be a little bit less. So you're asking all the right questions, but only you and your husband can really make that final decision. Now, I just want to mention one thing, that you're in a situation that was available for people who were born before January 2nd, 1954, where your husband was able to collect half of your benefit and delay claiming his own benefit until he's 70. That option is no longer available to anybody that was born on or after January 2nd, 1954. So I just wanted to mention that for the other listeners out there, that the option that you had may not be available to them.
All right. Thank you so much for that call, April. Next up is Paul of Nebraska. And Paul is a winner. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on that win. Go right ahead.
Oh, well, hey, okay, thanks. In the news media, occasionally I hear little glimpses of how the reliability and the funding of Social Security in the future is at risk, and I'm just wondering how, if you could kind of encourage answer on how, if that's in fact right, or if our government would always keep it going. Thanks.
You want to take that one, Brad?
Yeah, well, Paul is right. So right now, Social Security is on sound financial footing. So that's the good news. But by 2034, we'll have more retirees and they'll outweigh the number of workers. And so the Social Security system will be forced to cut benefits at 2034. Now, that's if nothing is done. So we definitely need to do something to make sure that future retirees get the benefits that they deserve. And that's one of the things that AARP is working with both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, to ask really two questions. Number one is, what are your solutions to this challenge that we're facing? And number two is, are you willing to work with the other side to get it done? So we have done this in the past. In the 1980s, there was a crisis facing Social Security, and we came together as a country and fixed it. Right now, Social Security is called the third rail of American politics because, like the train tracks, you've got that electrical current that keeps the trains running, and when you touch it, you get zapped. And so when a political leader of one side of the aisle touches it, they tend to get zapped. Now, I would say the grounding wire for this to make sure that people don't get zapped is bipartisanship. And so we really need Republicans and Democrats to come together to solve these issues. And what we need, frankly, are your viewers, Christina, and our members to ask politicians, number one is, what are your solutions? And number two is, are you willing to work with the other side to get it done? And if we can get answers to those questions, I am confident that we can solve the problem that's facing us in 2034. But right now, you should know that Social Security is on very sound financial footing.
But you're right, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And so getting that bipartisan support is so important. So it's a great call to your members. And yeah, to our viewers as well, we have to definitely raise our voices when it comes to Social Security. Because like you said, 2034, they say if nothing is done, it will run out. But hey, when are they going to do something, right, Rob? That's the big question that everybody wants to know. We're going to go back to the phones. Arnold of Texas joins us now. Thanks for joining us, Arnold. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a question, Arnold?
Yes, I sure do. Okay, I am retired. I am over 65, and I am receiving full Social Security. Okay, I am working full-time, paying into Social Security, and now I'm making more income than when I started receiving it at 65. Will this have a positive effect on the amount I receive from Social Security?
That's a good question, and the answer is maybe. What Social Security did when you signed up for Social Security, they took all of your earnings and they kind of adjusted them in today's dollars. So, for example, let's say if you earned $10,000 back in 1980, they might have adjusted that into $30,000 equivalent of today's dollars. So they kind of adjust your old earnings into today's dollars to account for increases in wages over your working career. Now, once they do that, they pick out your 35 highest years of earnings, and your retirement benefit is based on your 35 highest years of earnings. Now, if you start collecting benefits and keep working, every year that you have a new year of earnings, they compare that new year to the lowest of the 35 indexed years that they're using to come up with your current amount. And if your new year of earnings is higher than the lowest year they're currently using, they throw out the low year, replace it with the new higher year, recalculate your benefit, and you get a little bit of a bump up in your payment. Now, they automatically do that every year. They usually do it around October or November. So, come October or November of this year, they're going to look at everybody who worked in 2021. And if 2021 bumps up their benefit, they'll give them that bump up effective January of 2022, send them a catch-up payment, and it goes on. So it all depends on how your current earnings compare to that lowest indexed year of earnings. Now, like I said, if you made $10,000 in 1980, they might have treated it as though it was $30,000. But you may very well get a bump up in your benefit each year you continue to work.
Okay, 877-283-7570 is the number to call and join our conversation, and you might be a winner tonight. Our next caller is a winner. It's Dan from South Dakota. Congratulations, Dan. Go right ahead. Dan, are you with us? Okay, we're going to go to Oregon and talk to Kevin instead. Thanks for joining us, Kevin. Go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah, that last comment, that was great. I learned something new off that I didn't know. What I'm doing, my daughter's disabled. How do we start that whole process? Do I go local to my local office, or do the doctors confirm it first and then go there? How does this all work out to apply for disability?
Yeah, the place to start to apply for disability benefits is directly with the Social Security Administration. And what you want to do is gather up all the information about your daughter's condition, where she's been treated, any types of medications. They're going to need all that information. But you start the application process directly with the Social Security Administration. Now, if your daughter has worked enough to be insured for Social Security disability, she could file her disability application online at ssa.gov. If she can file online for Social Security, she might also be able to file online for a program called SSI, which is Supplemental Security Income. That's a different program that the Social Security Administration manages. Now, the other way to do it is simply to call the Social Security Administration, either your local office or the National 800 number, which is 1-800-772-1213, and you can schedule an appointment to have a Social Security Administration representative call your daughter and actually take her application over the telephone. And then if they need anything mailed in, she mails it into her local office. So either online at ssa.gov or call Social Security and set up an appointment, and they'll help her with that application process. Now, once they get all the information about her condition and her doctors, hospitals, wherever she's been treated, the Social Security Administration will actually go out and request all of that information. Your daughter doesn't have to run around and get all those medical reports to submit. The Social Security Administration will go out and get them themselves.
All right. Thank you so much for that question, Kevin.
Christina?
Yes.
If I can just weigh in, Rob makes a great point on the importance of filing this paperwork and trying to do it online. But it also speaks to Kevin's issue, which a lot of rural folks are struggling with, the fact that the Social Security offices have remained closed during the pandemic, and because a lot of folks don't have access to broadband. And so I just want to make it clear that one of the things that we want to do is find a way to open these Social Security offices safely, because obviously the pandemic is still raging, but we really need to find a way to get those offices open, because there are a lot of people that rely on that in-person visitation to do things that maybe you can't do online. And so that's one of the things that we'll be looking at AARP.
Especially with information that's so private. A lot of people are a lot more comfortable in person, like you're talking about. So that's a really great point to bring up. Kevin was a winner. Congratulations, Kevin. Gail of Michigan joins us next. Thanks for joining us, Gail. Go right ahead.
Yes. I was wondering if your Social Security, you have it on certain days. Could you change that to a different day of the month? Because like my husband's is the second Wednesday of the month, and mine is the 4th. And we have bills that got to be paid in between there that we're always late, so we're paying extra.
Yeah. Many years ago, the Social Security started sending out Social Security checks based on the day of the month that you were born. So depending on the day of the month you were born or the person on whose Social Security record you collect was born, you're going to get your Social Security check either on the second Wednesday, third Wednesday, or fourth Wednesday of the month, and you cannot go in and ask to have it changed. They will not let you voluntarily change the day of the month you get your Social Security check.
Okay, what a good question, though. And I love the fact that Gail's able to just call in and get her question that's rather complicated answered on live television from Rob. It might be easier than actually reaching out to the Social Security Administration in this case. I love it. Thank you, AARP, for that. We're going to go back to the phones. DeVille from Alabama joins the conversation now. Go right ahead, DeVille.
Was that Dale or DeVille?
I heard DeVille.
Well, maybe we heard on this Dale.
Dale.
Hey, thank you for taking my call, and I appreciate the folks you have there. My question is there a certain number of years someone has to be married before divorce to be eligible for Social Security benefits on the other party? And then my second question, is there a penalty for married couples when they both of them receive Social Security benefits from where they've worked for 30 or 40 years?
Both great questions. I mentioned earlier that you might be able to collect a Social Security benefit off of a spouse who worked under Social Security, and that includes an ex-spouse who worked under Social Security. And to answer your question about divorce, to collect a Social Security benefit on a spouse from whom you're divorced, you had to have been married at least 10 years. All right, now to collect on a current spouse, you have to be married for 1 year, but if you're divorced from that spouse, you had to be married at least 10 years to even have a shot at qualifying for something on your ex-spouse's record, whether they're living or deceased. Now, the second part of your question, is there a marriage penalty? The answer is no. If you earned your own Social Security, you earned your 40 credits and you get your retirement benefit, and your spouse also earned their own Social Security benefit, you're each going to collect your own Social Security benefit. The amount that you collect because you worked is the exact same amount no matter what your marital status is, whether you're married, never married, married, divorced, widowed, widower, whatever you earned working yourself, that's your benefit.
All right. Thank you so much for that call, Dale. And you are a winner. Congratulations, sir. Next up is Lloyd of Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us. Go right ahead.
Yes, I have money coming off of my Social Security check into federal taxes, and I was taking off the lowest is 10%. Now I wanted to raise it, and I did raise it, but the next level is 22%. Why isn't there another bracket in between? That's quite a chunk more money coming off.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you want to have federal income tax withheld from your Social Security check, you have to fill out a IRS form W-4V, and you mail it to your Social Security office. And you only get to pick one of 4 different rates of withholding. And I think the lowest is 7%, and then there's a couple of in between, and then it goes up to 22%. So there's nothing in between as far as having it held back from your Social Security. Now, having income tax withheld from your Social Security check is voluntary. So another way you could handle meeting your federal tax payments during the year, so you don't get penalized for underpaying, is if you have other income that you have tax withholding from, you could increase your withholding from the other income, or you could pay quarterly income tax payments to the IRS and spread it out in 4 equal payments during the year. But you're right. They only allow 4 withholding rates from your Social Security benefit, nothing in between. And that's the doing of the IRS.
All right, we're going to go back to the phones. Jerry of Missouri joins us now. Thanks for joining us, Jerry. Go right ahead.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. My question is, at what point do the Social Security waiver your medical coverage payment of $170, I believe it is?
Okay. What point do you not? At what income? I'm sorry, I can't answer that. There's 2 ways. There's the Medicare Part B premium, which this year is $170, and I don't know the particulars, but there's 2 ways that I've seen people getting at least part of that, if not all of that, added back into their Social Security check. One is through the Medicare Savings Program. And that's a program whereby the state pays your Medicare Part B premium for you. And the rules to qualify vary from state to state. So the income level is not a federal income level, but it's really more of a state income level. And you would contact your state Medicaid agency, MEDICAID, Medicaid agency, to see if you qualify for the Medicare Savings Program. Another way people get it on a more limited basis is through the Medicare Advantage plans. There are a few Medicare Advantage plans that offer Medicare Part B premium reductions. Usually you have to pay the full Medicare Part B premium to join a Medicare Advantage plan, but there are a few plans out there. They're not available in every zip code, but there are some plans that offer a reduced Medicare Part B premium. And you can sort of check that out on the Medicare.gov website. Or to get information about either of these possibilities, every state has a state health insurance assistance program. In many states, they call it the SHIP, the State Health Insurance Assistance Program. Other states have different names for it. If you know the one in your state, I would contact them. They could help you out with the Medicare Savings Program, or possibly identify a Medicare Advantage plan that would work for you. And if you don't know where your SHIP is, try contacting your local area agency on aging, and they can help you, guide you along on that as well.
Okay, thank you so much for that call. That leaves a line open for you, 877-283-7570. Jerry was a winner. Next up is Todd from Illinois. Thanks for joining us, Todd. Go right ahead.
Thank you for taking my call. I'm soon to be 62 and plan on drawing Social Security on my birthday. My wife is a retired school teacher, and it's our understanding that when I die, she is not allowed to draw any survivor benefits. Is that accurate? And is there any chance that will ever be changed?
Okay, that might be accurate. Here's how it works. If your wife is eligible for a government pension from a job where her employer did not withhold Social Security taxes from her wages, then she's going to be receiving what Social Security calls a non-covered pension, a pension from a job that was not covered by Social Security. Now, in that situation, they apply what's called the government pension offset. Under the government pension offset, they first calculate what she could receive and a Social Security survivor benefit if you die, but then they reduce that by an amount that's equal to 2/3 of her government pension. So if 2/3 of her government pension is more than the Social Security survivor benefit, there would be no Social Security benefit for her to collect. But if 2/3 of her government pension is less than the Social Security survivor benefit, she can collect the difference. Now, the reason they did this, and they did this a long time ago, back in the 1980s, I think it was, that they passed the government pension offset, was because if your wife had worked under Social Security, instead of in a government job where she wasn't covered by Social Security, then she can't collect both her own Social Security benefit and a survivor benefit on your record. Had she worked under Social Security, for every dollar she gets of her own Social Security benefit, that would be $1 she can't collect on your record. So that's the Social Security offset for married couples. You don't get to collect on your spouse's record plus a full benefit on your own record. You can only collect whichever Social Security benefit is higher. So it sounds like she's probably affected by this government pension offset, and whether she's going to get anything out of your Social Security depends on the amount of her pension and the amount of your benefit. And the best thing to do is talk to a representative in your local Social Security office. Give them a call. They can check your benefit. Your wife tells them how much her pension will be, and then they can give you the detailed information you need.
Oh, thank you so much for that call. Such a wide range of questions surrounding this topic tonight, and we still have time for yours. We're going to pause for a quick break, but when we come back, we also have one more Yeti cooler to give away. The phone lines are open. 877-283-7570 is the number to call. We will be right back with more Rural America Live with AARP. Welcome back to Rural America Live with AARP. We are taking your calls and answering your questions about Social Security tonight, and we still have a cooler to give away, so let's go straight to the phones. Malia from Virginia joins the conversation. Go right ahead. Thanks for joining us.
Hi. I was wondering, how do I, use my Social Security number?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. How do I use your...
She said, how does she use her number?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, how do I, understand, how to use it, or what do I use it for?
Well, let me weigh in on this first, because I would say very carefully. My daughter gets calls on her new cell phone all the time about Social Security demanding payments and this and that. And what you don't want to do, Malia, is ever give your Social Security number out to someone who's calling you over the phone. And of course, when it comes to fraud, you got to understand that, number one, the Social Security Administration will rarely call you unless you scheduled that call. And they certainly won't bully you and demand payment and create this weird sense of urgency, to try and get money out of you. So just be very, very careful with your Social Security number. And I'm sure Rob has some other tips to go along with that.
Yeah, when it comes to providing your Social Security number, there are certain times when you have to provide your Social Security number. For example, you have to put it on your tax return, or if you're going to open a bank account, you have to open a bank account. Now, when it comes to somebody asking for your Social Security number, for example, you want to buy a cell phone and they ask you what's your Social Security number, or even you go to the doctor's office and they say, what's your Social Security number? The first thing you should do is ask them, why do you need that? And can't you use something other than my Social Security number? And oftentimes they might say, well, we don't really need it, or yes, we can do something else. If they insist on saying we have to have your Social Security number, you can refuse to give it to them, but they then do not have to provide you the service. So, for example, if the cell phone company wants your Social Security number and you say, I'm not going to give it to you, and they won't let you use something else, then they don't have to give you cell phone service. So, but Brad is right. Whenever somebody is asking for your Social Security number, the first thing you should ask is, why do you need it? Can you use something else?
And how many times have you asked those questions in your life, Rob, just out of curiosity?
I was very careful with my Social Security.
Hey, you are our example. You set the bar for us, so that is a good lesson for all of us. Thank you for that question, Malia. We appreciate it. We love hearing from the next generation, and you are a winner. Congratulations. Dale of Michigan joins us now. Go right ahead, Dale.
Hi, I was wondering, at what age are you able to make unlimited amount of income without losing any of your Social Security benefits?
Great question. There's this earnings test that says if you collect Social Security and work, you might lose some of your Social Security benefit. And that earnings test goes away effective with the month you reach your full retirement age. And your full retirement age depends on your year of birth. If you were born between 1943 and 1954, your full retirement age was 66. If you're born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is the month you turn age 67. If you're born in between, your full retirement age is somewhere between age 66 and 67. So you can go to the Social Security website and check it out. Right now, full retirement age for people born in 1956 is 66 and 4 months. So check your year of birth and then find the month you reach that 66 plus 4 months or 66 plus 6 months, whatever your full retirement age. And starting with that month, the earnings limits go away. You can earn as much as you want and collect your Social Security.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much for that call. We sure appreciate it. 877-283-7570 is the number to call. And we've had so many great questions tonight. But Brad, I'm wondering, what are your members most concerned about in regards to Social Security in the state of Iowa right now?
You know, the myth that I hear, of course, and we talked a little bit about this, is that Social Security is somehow going broke, and that is just simply not the case. Social Security is on very sound financial footing. We just have to understand that by 2034, we're going to, Social Security is essentially a math problem. We'll have more retirees taking money out of the program than we have workers paying into the program, and we have to do something about that. And so we're really, calling on our members to reach out to their members of Congress and ask them what is their solution, because the reality is the earlier we address this, the less painful the solution will be down the road. And so we can really start rebuilding that Social Security trust fund the earlier we make sure that we address the potential shortfall in 2034 and start talking about solutions. And as I said earlier, I'm confident we can get this done. We did it in 1983 with Republicans and Democrats working together, and that's one of the things that AARP is going to be working on in the near future.
I love that. And I love the ability to bring updates to the public right here to rural America on this program every third Thursday of the month, because it really impresses me what AARP is able to accomplish with boots on the ground in Washington, D.C. and virtually over the past couple years. Okay, we're going to go back to the phones. Bill of Ohio joins us now. Thanks for joining the conversation. Go right ahead, Bill.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
My question is I'm currently in my mid-50s and I'm drawing disability. How does that affect my benefit that I could draw when I reach full retirement age?
Yeah, great question, Bill. Think of it this way. There's only one Social Security benefit. There's just a lot of different ways to collect that Social Security benefit. And in your case, you're collecting the Social Security benefit based on disability. Now, what Social Security did in calculating your disability benefit is they juggled their formulas around and they calculated a benefit for you as though you had reached your full retirement age when you became disabled. So in other words, let's say your regular full retirement age would be 67. Well, when they figured your disability benefit, say at age 55, they calculated it as if you had already gotten to the age of 67. So essentially, what you're collecting now is your full retirement age Social Security benefit. You're just collecting it sooner because you are disabled, and that's one of the protections you pay for when you pay into the Social Security system. So as long as you continue to meet the requirements to qualify for the Social Security disability benefit, you would continue to collect disability up until you're 67. Then when you're 67, you're now old enough to collect your full benefit with whether you're disabled or not. So they simply shifted over from a disability benefit to a retirement benefit, and you would continue to receive the same amount because in effect, you're already receiving your full benefit.
Okay, thank you so much for that call, Bill. We appreciate it. We're going to try to get Eric from California in. Thanks for joining us, Eric. Go right ahead.
Thank you. I want to thank you guys for this presentation. It's been very informative, especially to someone like me who's just getting started. I'll be at my full retirement age by the end of this year. And my question is there a certain time frame I have to apply, or can I apply now, or is it too early for to get the process rolling? And how do I do it with the offices being closed?
Yeah, if you're going to reach full retirement age before December 31st, you might want to go ahead and call your local Social Security office and find out what your claiming options. Because, for example, if you're going to be full retirement age this year and you're going to earn less than $51,960, then you might be able to start your Social Security benefit right now. If you're going to make more than the $50,000, you still might have the option. If you go ahead and sign up now, you might have an option to start collecting benefits before your full retirement age. So you probably ought to talk to a Social Security representative, get the details, the nitty-gritty on what exactly are your options. Now, once you pick the month you want to start collecting Social Security, let's say if you're going to be full retirement age in October and you decide you want to just go ahead and start in October, well, you can put your application in 4 months ahead of time. So if you wanted to start in October, you could file in June, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, you could file in June to start in October, for example. And filing early gives them time to get the paperwork processed and pay you on time. But I'd recommend, Bill, that you go ahead and give them a call and talk to them now.
All right. And congratulations on your retirement. That's fantastic to hear about. And we know how many hardworking people out there are joining us tonight. Well, we have just about run out of time. I wanted to give you, Rob, a chance, though, to share your final thoughts with us.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to encourage people to set up their online My Social Security account if they haven't already done so. Whether you're 24 or 84, it's a good way to get information about your benefits and to do business with the Social Security Administration. You just go to ssa.gov and click on the link for the My Social Security and follow the instructions.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Brad Anderson, Iowa AARP State Director, thank you for joining us as well. For more great resources, go to aarp.org/AARP Live. Want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was just a great show. Love being able to bring this education to the table. Be sure to join us on February 17th when we take a deep dive into the latest scam so that you know what to be on the lookout for as fraudsters are constantly evolving to steal our hard-earned money. It's a show you won't want to miss. In the meantime, for more great resources, like I said, aarp.org/AARP Live. We'll see you next time right here on RFD-TV.